Can you believe it's already September 2020? And I'm sure we all can agree that it can keep on going. It's been a hot mess in the year 2020, and I cannot wait for 2021 to just get started because what a year. But it feels like it's our 1963, 1957 that we are going backwards when it comes to being black in America. And let's get right to it. Being a black man right now has been very interesting, to say the least. There's a lot of things happening to us right now, and it's frightening. To be a black man in America. I know you see this black man, you're like, Bobby, what are you talking about? You don't live in the inner cities. You follow all the rules. If you get pulled over, you would just cooperate. Surely you don't feel like you're in danger. Yes, I do. You see the outside of Bobby, but there's a lot to me than just the superficial part of me. The bottom line, I'm a black man in America, and do you know, y'all, we could not vote almost less than 60 years ago, and when we could, we had to count the jelly beans in the jar, to qualify to vote. And when I hear a black person say, I'm not going to vote, or I'm going to vote for somebody else who's not really running, just to put my vote in, which is to me a waste of vote, you are disrespecting our ancestors when you do that. I would never say how to vote, but I would say you should vote a certain way. No, but vote. It's very important. We're hearing it all the time that this is the most important vote of your life. It's also history making. I mean, yes, Barack Obama was the first African American to become president of the United States. But he was halfway there. He was already a man. He was 50% there. He just happened to be a man of color. But we got the first black woman of color, which I say now because if you say African American, the Indians will say, no, she's Indian. And the Indians will say, no, or she's Jamaican. So she's a woman of color. And she is the first. And more importantly, she is a woman who's about to be vice president of the United States, God willing. God willing. That is huge. So as we've taken big steps forward, I feel in the last 4 years we've taken bigger steps backwards. Like we're going back into the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. I don't know if you guys know, next month in October, I think October 16th, I believe, is the 25th anniversary of the Million Man March.
My grandfathers, my fathers, my brothers, I lift up my voice and raise it high, telling the stories of your children's cries. For our ability to survive the onslaught of the enemy's drugs, guns, and alcohol, his prisons and his killing fields, depends directly on whether you are willing to stand up and resist the outrages that are being heaped upon us as a people.
Louis Farrakhan, the leader of the Nation of Islam, ordered black men to show up in Washington, D.C. on the wall, and he was basing it on I Have a Dream speech, which was in 1963, and it was almost the anniversary for that. And he wanted all black men to come to Washington, D.C., and the women stay at home, take care of the kids, hold it down, and they do a day of boycott. Like, they don't buy anything, they don't show up for work, they don't do anything. And I remember this so well because I was just a little brand new flight attendant, couldn't tell me nothing, cute, young, I had hair, I had benefits to fly all over the world, but I was on reserve. And I remember leading up to the event, I was trying to figure out how to change my days around because I was working that weekend, because I really wanted to attend something like that. It was building up as the event for black people. You ain't black if you don't go to the Million Man March. You ain't a black man, you're not doing your responsibility. And when it first came out, there was a lot of backlash because it was put on by the Nation of Islam, and Louis Farrakhan was not one of the popular people or leaders for black people. We were still on the Jesse Jackson bandwagon and a little bit of Al Sharpton, and it was a political year, and a lot of politicians didn't want to be associated unless they kind of figure it out. So then that kind of confused black people. Should I go? Shouldn't go? But it ended up happening. And it's been controversies ever since of how many people actually showed up, according to the Parks and Recs in Washington, D.C., and they do like these telescopes and all these other things they had back then that I think it was like 750,000. And I think at that time the media was trying to make it say it was like 250,000. But they compare the March on Washington, and they know how to count people. I don't know how they do it, but they do. Whatever the number was, it was a lot of people. And I was on reserve, and I remember calling my scheduling at my company and saying, hey, is there any way that you can assign me to a trip to Washington, D.C. because I want to go to the Million Man March? And she's like, well, we don't have anything right now, but let me call you back. If I call something up, I'm a black woman. Talk about helping us out. And I would love to go myself. I was like, okay. So she calls me back like at 2 in the morning and says, okay, I found this trip for you. What I can do is get you the other day of the event. You can have a 20-hour layover downtown, and I'll get you back. And I was like, yes, girl, that's what I want. Yes. And I was so excited. First of all, I remember it was a 747 jumbo jet. That's a plane that can hold over 250 people at the time. And I remember working that flight and looking around that jumbo jet and seeing hundreds of black men, and some women too, on the plane. Now at my airlines, to get like 10 blacks on one flight, that's a feat. Like, I don't know if you guys fly a lot, but if you've ever flown, or if you're ever gonna fly in the future, count how many black people are on your flight. You know, my 30 years of airline experience, I've never seen more than 20 black people on one flight. Maybe a few if it's a family reunion or a church reunion or a fraternity reunion, going to a church into Atlanta and to the South. But never on a jumbo jet like that. So I was overwhelmed like that, like, oh my God. And the fact that I was able to serve my people going to the Million Man March. And I remember I had to hit the ground running. So, you know, I did a quick shower, as my mom called it, a hoe wash. Cut. A hoe wash, that's so funny. Anyway, and I remember taking the subway. I was a little ways from downtown area, and I took the subway there, and the subway exit was right in the middle of the mall where they had the march. And I remember coming up and seeing a sea of just people that were looking like me, sounding like me, black people everywhere. And I grew up in the Bay Area, so to see people in the masses of black people, for me, it was overwhelming. I remember just tearing up right then. And that they were black men. And probably more importantly, I saw black men with their sons, you know, on their shoulders, you know, pointing and educating them. And just, it was kumbaya. And I was like towards the back, and I just wanted to make it to the front because they were having all these speakers at the time, and maneuver my way. And that's what I met. It was like, hey brother, how you doing? Black Power, Black Lives Matter back then. I forgot what the slogan was back then. It wasn't Black Lives Matter, but it was something like that. It was a movement. I remember moving up to the front, and I'm right next to Public Enemy, who were like nobody at the time. They were just up and coming. Watching Queen Latifah give a speech. Watching Sister Souljah. Y'all remember Sister Souljah? YouTube Sister Souljah. And seeing Jesse Jackson, because they finally all got along. It's like, okay, it's going to happen either way. So as a politician, we got to show up. So, and congressman after congresswoman just making speeches, and black men, you got to step up and do your thing. And it was Black Pride. It was a beautiful thing. Anyway, I just wanted to share that. It was 25 years ago, and I can remember that as daylight. It used to be the #1 moment of civil rights for myself, but now I think the inauguration of Barack Obama, that was the ugly cry. I mean, I don't think anything will ever top seeing the first black president in my lifetime, which I never thought. It's a beautiful thing. I just want to reflect on that, and maybe I'll do something next month in celebration of 25 years ago. That being said, yes, 25 years ago, and we've gotten nowhere. I think it's time for another Million Man March. I think it's time for not only just the Million Man March, but a march. African Americans, allies, anybody who wants to move this movement and stand up for our rights in a peaceful way. Don't let the news media or the right-wing media or the people fool you into that this is all about rioting and all about looting. That's what glorifies them to sell their magazine and sell their television show or whatever they're doing these days. It's peaceful protesting. But when you got the top of the leadership sprouting out racism and calling it riot and looters and thugs and everything else and causing more havoc, you know, he's causing division. I mean, he's flying to Wisconsin as we speak right now. For what? To display what's going on there? You should be in Texas checking out the hurricane. Just, oh, it irritates me. So make sure you vote in November. It's really important. So this month was, you know, this is talking to my black people. Now, white people, how you doing? Welcome to my channel. It's not all about black power. You know, I accept all and everything else. You are our biggest allies. Black people can only do so much because we don't have the power. We don't have the resources as you do. When you look back when John Lewis, rest his soul, had just passed away a month ago, he would tell you it wasn't just the black people making this movement. It was our allies who made a difference. So we need you just as much as anybody else. Again, it was only 1957 when Martin Luther King Jr., Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. did the I Have a Dream speech, and that all men are created equal. And we're going to hold America up to this. We are going to make a difference, and it starts with us. As black people, it starts with us. We got to take care of business. We have to take care of our women, our children, our family. We have to give back to our communities, make sure we buy blacks, you know, buy American and buy black American. Black businesses need your business. This is a good time to start buying black, you know. That could be a slogan, buying black. But it's a lot to think about as a black man. What we're using right now is we're tired. We are tired of talking the good talk, but I will continue to do it. I have a small little platform, so I do mention a little bit about this. We all have some kind of part that we can play in this, and let's step it up, people. Let's step it up. We can do this. Thanks for hanging with me with this tough conversation. It's tough to talk about racism, but I think it's something that we need to talk about and get it out. If you guys want more on what it is being a black man, definitely leave a comment down below. I'm going to be doing a one-on-one with my sister-in-law, white woman. Hey Sue, I'm sure you're watching this. Talk more about racism in America and being black in America. So I'm very excited about that, and possibly be able to teach it at one of our students, teach a class on that. So definitely excited about that. But if you run into this channel and you like what you see and you've been watching this video, make sure you like the video. Don't forget, that's important. And then you haven't subscribed, I don't know why, but you need to subscribe to this channel. I see you. So you definitely subscribe. And more importantly, share it on your social media. Let people know about this video, get it out. Let's get this video moving. Do your thing. Thanks for watching. And how do I say goodbye? Bye, girl. Bye.